And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge Podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined by Bingo Grandpa, as he is listed on your screens. If you guys are watching live on YouTube, if you guys are listening to us in the morning via podcast, please do hit that subscribe button. If you guys are watching us live, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, all of those good things. If you're watching on Twitter, head on over to youtube.com/@Lakers Lounge, where I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to stop broadcasting these as we head into the season on Twitter because the numbers are too fudged on there. So you're probably going to want to subscribe.
You're telling me this stream doesn't have 2 billion viewers right now?
Yeah. Like in the middle of Monday Night Football, we have 1,400 people watching. Yep. Yeah. Hey, that other voice that you heard, that is Bingo Grandpa, aka Harrison Fagan of
SB Nation.
SB Nation.
I
said it.
You forget. I had to jump in there because it's been like 3 pods in a row. I think you forgot.
No way.
Yeah. No, well, you're contractually obligated. It's your one job, and you always forget to mention my employer.
Man, at every stop, I've had one job to read these ad reads and stuff like that, and I've been really bad at that. So this is actually very consistent in my brand. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. I'm always happy to be your go-to emergency fill-in guest when another guest cancels on you last minute.
Well, it's your fault for messaging me to remind me that you technically have a makeup for going on the world's longest vacation. So,
some partial vacation, partial on the run from Toronto authorities over that parking ticket.
It's like specifically Drake targeting you.
Yeah.
Like he's you're on the run from Drake as he tries to take out his epic ass whooping at the hands of Kendrick Lamar out on anybody who is double parked in Canada.
Well, they're having to make up all the money that they're losing from Drake's taxes because of how much less money he's going to earn this year. So they're being more aggressive on the parking tickets.
They're just like getting out ahead of it. Today on the show, we're going to be doing training camp bingo. This is Harrison, I think of our long-standing segments or bits or anything like that, I think this is probably the one that people ask about the most. They look forward to like certain like transaction windows or NBA calendar events because it gives us an excuse to predict what the stories are going to be. And I legitimately enjoy doing it. My only thing is this, I don't know if I'm getting washed or
yes.
My disinterest in this team is just at such a level that it was like hard for me to predict some of these. So I don't know. I still think I came up with a pretty good list, but you, however, you freshly back from that Drake riddled vacation, you said you were ready to go. You had these just right off the top of the head.
Well, not all of them, but I mean, a lot of them, I'd been thinking a lot about this for the last couple of weeks, so it was more of a matter of just like writing them down. But yeah, I mean, Anthony, this is how my brain works. I'm trained. I've been trained over the last like 10 years now I just try to predict what I'm going to have to write about, and also sometimes that skews in like what is the funniest possible thing that could happen. And so, I got a mix of like serious predictions, and then I got a couple in here that are like, this would be very funny if this happened. And I would also believe it.
That was one of the things that I miss about like Silver Screen Slack in its heyday was, when we would have everybody in there and we would get together and we would predict, what to write or what pre-writes we needed to work on. That was always fun. And, in order to tap back into that, we're going to do this. I'm also, by the way, if you guys see me looking off to my right over there, it's because I have Monday Night Football on. And normally I would have it turned off. But Kirk Cousins sucks at football. And I have to like remember what this feels like to watch Kirk Cousins suck at football and not have it affect my mental well-being. So I
thought you were going to say I have like $500 riding on this game. I bet against Kirk Cousins.
I should have. Damn it, Harrison. You should have reminded me before. He's just so bad. He's like, he was already pretty immobile before, but then his Achilles ruptured and whew. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get going here, and we're gonna alternate here. We have both put together like 8 to 10 headlines that we are looking forward to getting. We'll react a little bit to them as well, but we do have to get through this fairly quickly because you know, dinner is expected of you. Which I made dinner tonight. So look at us growing up.
Breaking stereotypes.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Not us.
You and me cooking dinner.
Not me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm cooking it for my wife, not 2 other human lives who I'm responsible for. So it is like a little less responsibility, but you know,
today was
said,
Miles's birthday.
Now, so he's a grown man. You didn't really need to worry about him.
Yeah. Well, today was Miles's birthday. He turned 2, and his absolute favorite meal in the world is my spaghetti, like the spaghetti that I make. So we gave that to him. He got that spaghetti
how do you
everywhere.
know it's specifically yours? Like, have you tried to give him other spaghetti, like from a restaurant, and he just is like, no, he does
he
like
like
the Drake's,
no,
like,
he doesn't like he doesn't turn it down. But like when I put him in his crib and I plop down my spaghetti, I don't know what it is about my spaghetti. I mean, I do some.
Wait, when you put him in his crib, you feed him spaghetti in his crib?
In his high chair.
Oh,
yeah.
I was gonna say this is unhinged. Like, I don't. Why would you do this to yourself? Like, yeah, we got to change the sheets right after every time. It just looks like
we keep on having to clean his crib. I don't know what we're doing wrong.
Noodles all over the crib.
But no, like for some reason, like he gets way more excited about my spaghetti than like any other meal that we put in front of him, including other spaghetti. So
that's sort of adorable.
If you guys
I don't even have
want
sarcastic comments to make about that. That's
yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get going. My spaghetti being Miles's favorite food, not one of my headlines. I think you have a couple more than me, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so my number one is so the Lakers, there's going to be some stories and some tweets about like JJ Redick's offense is quote revolutionary and like nothing else the players have ever seen.
Okay, all right. So I have something kind of like this too. JJ, yeah, I was like really excited about this.
Yeah.
JJ has been coaching like a veteran. Like you would not know that he did not have
We're gonna get some like hilarious overcompensating leaks about his coaching. Like one way or the other, it's gonna be something like this. Like JJ Redick, you know, like Jeannie keeps accidentally calling him Pat in the facility, you know, just because that's how composed he is.
Yeah, when Pelinka sees him, you know, going down the hallways, he calls him Phil, not within earshot of Jeannie, but like, you know, making sure to you know, let him know. No, I've been giving some of my peers and colleagues a bit of a hard time on this subject because there's a whole lot of people who seem to have like well-formed takes and thoughts on what kind of offense JJ Redick is going to run, what his coaching philosophy is going to be and all this stuff. And it just so happens to like align very closely with, because at this point we all know each other really well, right? Like Pete and I go way back at this point. Darius and I go way back. Darius and I go.
It's like he almost seems smart. He's going to run the things that I think are smart.
Exactly. Like I keep on seeing like, yeah, he's totally gonna, you know, do this and that and this and that. And it's like, isn't that how
I hope
you
he runs the Laker film room offense. I think there would be worse ideas, you know, like, but
yeah.
It's TV. Like, he could have terrible schemes. Like we don't know, you know. My guess is they'll probably be like above average. Like he seems like a sharp guy who had like a lot of experience with that kind of stuff and really cared about it. But it's totally possible he's completely inept at this.
I wouldn't go probable, but it's a much higher likelihood than people I think want to.
I think it's unlikely. Like he does seem like the type of guy, like for all the stuff about, oh, he's only coached his middle school team, whatever. He does seem like the type of person that you would pull out of a broadcast booth and would probably be pretty good at coaching. Like even Mark Jackson got the Warriors like decently far in the playoffs, and his overriding broadcast philosophy was hand down, man down. Like, you know, it's just like JJ, I think is going to be
that in church. Like,
yes, and lots of other things. And
hand down, man down on the court, hands way up in the pews.
yeah,
Let's go ahead
and
and I went after you. I already gave mine. It wasn't. I'm not doing this in any particular order. So what's your next one?
yeah, so to wrap on the JJ Redick point, I did see our guy Sam Quinn ranked all 30 head coaches, today for CBS Sports, and he just got
Oh, really?
aggregated without any of the context, and so they just did 1 through 30, and JJ was last, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
man, he's gonna get like death threats over this, but like his explanation was basically like, we've literally never seen him coach. Like, I don't, how am I supposed to rank him?
I think if you really want to do it,
I don't think there's any way he's going to be the 30th worst coach in the league, but it's like a defensible, like we have no idea.
I probably would have put like 29 and then him, like I couldn't rank him. Like that's probably how I would have done it. But no, like nobody knows. Nobody has any idea.
Some of these other guys be bad coaches, like it's
right. Like we don't know, like he isn't bad yet and he isn't good yet. So like,
it's Schrodinger's podcaster, he could be good or bad.
It would have been great if he was like, JJ Redick is 29 and Doc Rivers is 30.
like Chauncey Billups is 30th. It's like, no, sorry, dude. Like I've seen enough.
All right, what's your next one?
My next one, you're gonna love this. So this is an annual tradition for me, annual tradition for the Lakers. This is basically a free space. Anthony Davis is taking on a more vocal leadership role. And by the way, have you noticed that he's the second oldest Laker on the team this year?
So I also have that one. We both.
I'm telling you, it's every year. It's like you could set it's Puxatawny Phil. It's the little cuckoo bird coming out of the clock. It's whatever you can set your watches to. Anthony Davis is going to be a more vocal leader this year. We promise.
Yeah, he's just been like the leadership is just off the charts so far in training camp so far.
Like what's the funniest thing that we could get about his leader? Like could we get like a leak about like he worked on his leadership this summer? He went to like a leadership summit with like CEOs and like one of those like Succession type retreats, but there's also like Anthony Davis is there. There's just a 7-foot like monster defender just walking around. Like
he appeared on Industry because like
he's just so into business.
Are you watching Industry?
No, but it's on my list. I'm going to binge it because I've heard so many good things now. Like I want to catch up and watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's really effing good, really effing dark. Like
I've been watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which is a different end of the TV spectrum, but one of the craziest reality shows I've ever watched.
Probably also pretty dark, I would imagine. Like
no, well, sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could catch up about this offline. I got some reality TV recommendations for you and Jen. But yeah, the vocal leadership role, like this is going to happen. We know it's going to happen, and I will be shocked if I get this one wrong.
Yeah,
I think this year he actually does it, I guess is the question. Like, is this the year he actually is more vocal leader?
I have a couple, or I guess I have a few AD ones, AD related ones. I technically just went again, because we both had the same one. So I'll let you go again.
Yeah. So I think number 3, you could probably guess what this one was going to be, or I bet you probably had a similar one. But Bronny, sources say, is really impressing the vets with his hustle and grind and mentality during camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, might just get minutes. Yeah, we might see him on opening night.
He's pushing the guys. He may not get minutes, but he's amped up the intensity level of the workouts with how hard he's guarding guys and making them take it more seriously and bringing in the exact type of mentality that Coach JJ Redick wants to instill amongst his group of competitors.
I also have I wrote that Bronny just might get minutes. As a training camp.
It's the same vein, it's like we know we're going to get like a day. It's not going to be day 1. That would be too obvious. It'll be like day 2 or 3. We'll get Bronny has really stood out by, he's just putting the clamps on Gabe Vincent.
Exactly. I was going to say nobody has scored on Bronny yet. He hasn't been in any of the scrimmages.
And it's like, Maxwell Lewis, but it's,
it's also like, the seedy underbelly of our industry here, you got to do a couple favors, for your access. I could just, there's a couple reporters out there who I could see slipping this into their intel, the note section at the end of their columns or something like
it's
that.
not lead story. It's going to be more subtle than that. It's like buried in there. You got to go read the real reporting, but it's like, hey, this has sort of been a thing coming out.
Yeah. Well, then it gets aggregated to hell.
Yeah.
On Twitter. Like, then it just absolutely goes berserk. Well, I had that one again also, so I'll let you keep leading.
Well,
leading
let's
this
see if
down
we
the
can keep
path,
rolling.
Harrison.
Have we completely mind melded? Number 4, Austin Reaves has added 15 pounds of muscle.
Ooh, I don't have this one. I have an Austin one as well, but go ahead. What build on this one for me?
It's just, look, what is every year there's a muscle watch guy. And so I'm sort of just taking the bulletin boards that, like, we already know Connect has put on muscle. Like, we've seen the photos of him. So I don't think, like, maybe that'll be a storyline, but this feels like the type of thing where it's like primed for, like, Austin finally had the whole summer like off. He was able to bulk up, he's going to be able to guard threes this year. And so they're sort of like less worried about the crowded backcourt rotation. We're going to get something around like Austin is stronger. He's looking different in workouts. He's absorbing contact and he's giving it back now too.
Yeah, I actually think Christie is on my muscle watch, radar.
It would be hard for him to lose muscle, so it does seem like it'll probably go that direction. Yeah.
So I actually think I'll go ahead and give my next one here. I actually think Austin has been wowing people as point guard. He's
showing true floor general leadership, organization on the team.
Mm-hmm. So I've done a little bit of digging on this front, and I have heard that the Lakers are like really on Austin. Like they are being a lot more specific about what kind of role that they want him and what they're expecting of him in practice. Like, I guess at one point, like the coaches, like they're really like, they want him shooting a ton of threes this year. So he's not allowed to pass up shots in practice and stuff. Like, they're really banking on Austin being really good this year. And I still think that the role that he gets to expand the most, in terms of responsibilities, is at point guard without D'Lo also back there.
Yeah.
Which, like I that's why my headline is that, like, Austin has looked really good at point guard.
I could see that. Well, I mean, we'll get some buzz about Austin either way. Like, there's going to be, this is one. If we aren't, then that's like a little concerning almost. It's,
yeah.
Because like that's sort of one of their few shiny keys that they can jingle in front of everyone. It's like, we know LeBron and AD are going to be good. There's not going to be like, oh wow, LeBron looks good at training camp. Like, yeah, like no shit. But there's like, those two are established quantities. There's going to be maybe some younger prospects they try to hype up, and I have a couple sort of getting at that down the line of these. But I think Austin is sort of one of the ones that we're going to hear something really positive about Austin early days, I think. Now, is it true or not? We will find out as the season moves along. But
well, it was like last year they were thinking about doing the Austin point guard thing, and then they had him handle the ball in some of those spots, and it didn't look quite right.
That's what I mean. Like, it's, he had some growth to make in that area at the beginning of the year last year. Now, you could say some of that was fatigue from playing all summer and having the longest playoff run ever after like his longest seasons ever. He had never played more basketball in a year than that. That's true. But, there are questions, I think, about like his sort of level of burst, and is he going to be a guy that is consistently able to sort of run an offense and generate offense as that lead floor general, or is he more, he's got to be sort of that secondary attacker guy?
I think I gave my Austin one, so you go ahead.
So number 5, I got Jalen Hood-Schifino was there.
Dude, oh my god. Harrison, I forgot this human being exists.
Raj is gonna storm the stage. He's sitting there like he doesn't have Monday Night Football on. He's our boy's locked in on this podcast, and he is just sitting there doing the full Arthur fist with both hands, like anger fisting.
So basically you told everybody kind of how you go about doing this. The way that I go about it is like I find players and then I try to figure out like what a headline or a report would be
Yeah.
about those players. And it did not cross my mind to do a Jalen Hood-Schifino.
I knew I'd get this reaction out of you, so I had to save it. Wait until I did a couple serious ones and then drop it.
Yeah.
It's all time. This is true podcasting right here, and then telling people the bit afterwards.
Yeah. All right. My next one is somewhat along that line. Center X is really impressing. They're gonna find ones like
yeah.
This guy just might start. Really thinking about it. Jackson or Castleton or Coloco, just might they're really showing something in camp, and AD really likes playing alongside Center X. It's going to be a center. I don't know which one yet.
No, and I think the Lakers deserve credit here because we are like for their creativity here in trying to find a way to address a need and find market inefficiencies here on the fringes, because it's as we all know, it's never been harder to be a Christian in America, and the Lakers have signed 2 of them, so it's they're doubling down on Christianity. That's the headline that I'm taking out of this.
Wait, who's the other Christian?
Christian
Wood. Duh. Wow. Yeah.
Speaking of guys who forgot we're on the roster, yeah, I know who they're not going to say is impressing in training camp.
It's true.
I
do think we'll probably get a little bit more clarity. I think we'll get a little bit more clarity on the interesting timeline, we'll say, on Christian Wood's injury. Mine was the center X is impressing. What's your next one?
So I think that's a great call, by the way, because there is going to be, we're going to get the,
remember DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah. DeAndre Jordan, he's going to start. He's been really good. It's like, oh no, how bad has everyone else been?
And then he did. And that season went exactly as you would think.
DeAndre Jordan starting was somehow only the start of the descent of that season. It's like you think that's the low point of the coaster and it's sort of got to go up from there, but no, that ended up just sort of being
crashed right through the basement.
Yeah. So number 6, I had so sources say, and this is not me actually sourcing thing, but that we're gonna get like a sources say Kurt Rambis has been an active participant in helping JJ Redick learn the ropes of coaching.
I added this one while we were recording. I couldn't believe I didn't think of it initially.
Anthony, every time we play bingo, I have to get a Kurt one in there. I don't care if they don't always come true. We got to get a Kurt one because this seems believable, right? The only reason think we maybe won't get this one is that they have enough self-awareness to know that people would be mad about this and not think that it was a good thing, and so they just won't leak it,
I don't think
like 3 years ago we would have gotten Kurt is using his extensive head coaching experience to sort of help JJ learn the day-to-day. But like, I think they know that enough people hate Kurt and that he's involved now. They just try to like not mention that he's around.
Yeah, I think a different version of that, because I don't really believe that they could ever be self-aware. But I do think, though, that like they're all kind of distancing themselves to an extent where like,
it's like Kurt's like, actually in the shadows, there's a little more power. Yeah.
You know what? We're giving him the room to grow. Kurt is decided to give JJ the room to grow that he didn't give to Frank Vogel after he won a championship, and he didn't give to Darvin.
The room to grow for Frank Vogel, Kurt's like, I got to get in here and sort of give you my veteran expertise. Frank Vogel,
Frank's like,
coach of multiple Eastern Conference Finals participants. Like
when I have
I've won like a third of my games as head coach.
All right, so I technically had that one on there as well, so you can keep on going.
So I
this
got
is a record, by the way, for most headlines.
We've never had this much overlap. This is going to be the bingo card has never had this much synergy. So I got another one, and I'm guessing you're probably going to have this one too, because LeBron planning to play more of an off-ball role this year.
I don't have this one because I don't believe it for a second.
Okay, but
And I
he's
don't.
gonna say it because we're at the training camp cycle when he's like, I was tired at the end of last year. I want to be more
Yeah,
off the ball.
that's
And then by
true.
mid-season, he's like, these guys suck. I want to dribble the ball. And then by next
Hmm.
season, by the end of the season, he's like, I'm tired. We need to get more ball handlers, you know? And
Yeah,
it's just the cycle continues anew.
I think this probably is kind of like a branch from the Austin as point guard one, right? Because I don't
Yeah.
think he would cede control to D'Angelo Russell. I think everybody there is pretty sick of having him around. So like, I think it would probably have to be, Austin's look so good. And, LeBron is really excited to watch Austin handle those responsibilities. And, oh, wouldn't you know it also, AD is operating as a hub of the offense out of that, the pinch post and the pick and roll and the short roll. And
Look, there
like,
there are worse roles for AD than Super Draymond, you know?
I mean, look, him in the short
He's
roll
probably
is
not that good of
all
a
I've ever
passer,
wanted.
though. Yeah,
I
actually,
would
not even
prefer
probably. Scratch
LeBron to be in
probably.
the
He's
short
not
roll.
that good of a passer. Yeah.
Yeah. I would prefer LeBron be in the short roll more than
Yeah.
AD.
LeBron is Super Draymond. Now that's the Charizard of Draymond's, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, that's what we saw in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Was LeBron being Draymond while Steph went
Yeah.
nuts in that final game, and that looked pretty fun. All right, my next one is all right. I have AD has been shooting more threes. Anthony Davis,
This is good. I'm mad I didn't think of this. This is 100% happening.
Anthony,
We're gonna get it's gonna be like the Darvin Ham one, except AD's actually gonna do it. You know, he's like, I want him
yeah.
to shoot 6 threes a game, and then AD takes 2.
Yeah, I think AD, like, I think he probably tops out at about like 2.25 threes a game this year.
Yeah.
Be my guess. That's what I want, actually. Like,
But they're like designed. They're not like bailout, like just nobody was guarding you, so you kind of had to take
yeah,
it, you know?
yeah. So I think AD getting those reps early, and I'll also say this, like, on a somewhat more serious note, like not serious, like, but I'm
That's
incapable
the
of
thing
that.
about this pod. We're never that serious, you know?
Yeah,
Even when we're serious, not that
like,
serious.
I even said like serious. I was like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
But AD did look thinner, right? Like he looked like he looked a little slimmer in those Olympics. And I it wouldn't surprise me if like adding the bulk kind of messed with AD's comfort shooting, you know?
That has happened to guys. I mean, Kobe talked about that year that he gained and then lost all that muscle. I mean,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be the first guy to feel like putting on a little bit of muscle. I mean, you know, the counter argument to that would be Steph has put on muscle throughout his career and seemingly not lost his touch as a shooter.
Yeah.
But he's also
Yeah.
like maybe the greatest shooter ever. So that's also
Right.
probably not the most applicable example to most guys.
Yeah. I think and I actually believe that this one would come to fruition in the season. I
No,
actually
I,
think
I could
AD gets a
100%
few
see it.
shots
It's
up.
AD is jacking more threes and he's worked on his shot this summer. That is a perfect training camp storyline that we're gonna get.
Yep. All right, and everybody's gonna freak out about it too. By the way,
Yeah, he's never
like
been more confident in his three ball. Like we've seen him shoot threes before, but we haven't seen him just one motion catch, like
yeah.
take it.
Yep. All right.
Which,
What's your next
in
one?
seriousness, wouldn't be the worst thing. Like if he is actually confident and capable as a shooter, and again, the capable part is sort of the bigger question mark. The confident, he hasn't been the last couple of years, but if he can
Mm-hmm.
get there, he's been a confident shooter before. Yeah. So I think, that would be ultimately a net good thing for the Lakers if he is a more capable and confident jump shooter.
1,000,000,000%. That is objectively the correct take. Like one of the things that I got really frustrated about in some of the discourse about his game the last couple of seasons is like, well, man, look how efficient his scoring is, and look how his effective field goal percentage is like way up there, and this is exactly what you want from AD. And actually, I actually think it made him a little too predictable in that
Yeah.
like teams knew he was not shooting unless he was in that range that he would maintain that really high field goal percentage from. And I would like to see him miss, a three or so a game. I would like to see him miss, a mid-range jumper or two a game.
I can't wait for somebody to just clip that part out of context. You're just you talking about they cut out the part where you said why, and you're just like, I would love to see Anthony Davis miss a 3-pointer per game.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty consistent with how people think I think about Anthony Davis.
But like, look at this hater.
I went with the threes. So what's your next one?
So I have a similar one. Dalton Connect is one of the best shooters they've ever seen. You know, this feels like, again, this is like a second week of training camp storyline. It's like, oh, wow, Dalton got hot today, and I don't think he missed a single shot in that scrimmage.
I'm going to like screen grab it. Connect hasn't missed is on my is right.
Yeah.
This is my entire headline.
Because,
it's
so there's two reasons for this. Number one, he appears to be a legitimately incredible shooter. And, that's the kind of guy that is going to stand out in that sort of training camp setting. And, when like defense, it's not up at in-season levels, and he's obviously going to be motivated to show what he can do and that sort of thing. But the other thing is, it's easier to sort of blow guys away when you look at the rest of the roster and you're like, who else is going to hit threes?
Yeah, it's like D'Lo, Austin, and Connect, and LeBron.
Yeah. Max, I almost said Maxwell Lewis. Max Christie, they hope,
maybe, hopefully.
Yeah.
Vando.
Yeah.
A live viewer comes in with a great one here. One that I'm angry that I haven't said quite yet. LSI 30. You can't judge a team until X recovers from injury.
That's 100%.
That's on there. That's on there. It's going to make the bingo card. It is so good.
Yeah, no, user submission for sure. I can't believe I'm mad neither of us thought of that.
Yeah. All right. So my next one,
it's almost too predictable. Like, we already know they're going to do that, and so it doesn't even it doesn't even cross your mind that there's a possibility they don't say it and start that narrative.
Yeah. Well, because like the center thing is going to be a mess, right? So they're going to keep saying like, oh, yeah, but they really had high hopes for Christian Wood this year.
Once C. Wood gets healthy, it's going to be a whole different thing.
All right. My next one is Gabe has basically been a free agent acquisition.
That's too easy. I had a Gabe one, and it's Gabe Vincent is pushing D'Angelo Russell for starting point guard. It feels like we were primed to get that storyline last year, and I think this year we actually get it provided he comes into camp healthy and whatever. And we haven't heard anything about him not being healthy. So
or he will be. According to sources, it's been a healthy point guard position. Competition between Gabe, D'Lo, and Austin. That those three guys are really going at it.
Yeah, and they're playing hard. It's like they're all bringing different
things. And Bronny
things.
is also there.
I
keep forgetting about Jalen Hood-Schifino.
Yeah. Jalen Hood-Schifino killing it in the app-based deliverables to focus on player development. Okay.
Yeah.
He's signing into the app every day. He's doing.
Who do you think wins?
D'Lo hasn't figured out the 2-factor authentication yet. He hasn't logged in once. It's just.
Look, I can't judge. I have this company laptop behind me that I need to literally log my production hours in, and I am so bad at doing it. So D'Lo, if that is going on, I totally get it. I
actually know D'Lo's probably the most capable with a phone based on history. So
a little too capable. Let's see. We have Rui has been a wrecking ball. I was
thought about doing a Rui one. It just doesn't feel like there's been momentum towards that. And it also feels like, I don't know if anyone's going to believe it. Like last year they tried to sell us on the Rui as the LeBron heir thing. And I tried to think of a Rui one and I just couldn't get there.
Yeah. I was thinking I was debating between, this one where it's like Rui is really doing stuff off of the ball. He's rebounding. His defense is taking a step forward. The other one that I was kind of thinking about was a version of what we got last year where LeBron took him under his wing. You had those casually racist LeBron Japanese jokes that he was making. It was just I maybe we go back there, but I think if Rui is actually going to be the player they need Rui to be, he needs to be better at those little things. And I think they know it. So I think that's where they kind of go.
Yeah, I like the idea of Rui is really doing the little things. He wants to earn some all defense team consideration, and he's really worked on his rebounding and sort of his focus on rotation.
All defense.
Someone's gonna say they want to make.
I don't think they're shameless enough to do that, dude.
No, I don't think so either. But could you imagine?
Wild. Oh my God. That would get dunked on in the first 3 minutes of the season.
Yeah. No, but I mean, every year there's someone who insanely says they want to make a first team all defense.
It's true.
Could be Rui
Yeah.
this year. You know?
Yeah.
It's like last year, D'Angelo Russell is like, I think I'm going to try and play like Derek White. It was like, when? Did you watch any Derek White? Like,
how did I forget that? No, you're right.
incredible. Never forget. And then proceeded to never
there are not two players who were further apart than D'Angelo
That's
Russell
what I mean. It's
White.
just like you couldn't have like that's just you're just picking someone who you've heard NBA Twitter likes, you know? It's like, your two games are nothing alike.
One of his camps like analytics guys goes like, dude, they really like this guy on that twitter.com place. And he's like, who?
Yeah, all right. Because it's like I'm doing the hipster thing that like you haven't thought of, but it's like also, you know, not someone that he would ever be able to emulate just because their skill sets are so different. But
I would love to like have somebody ask him, hey, what was going on there? Like, that was
where was the Derek White showing up in your game? Is the Derek White in the room with us? You know?
Like I was like, for Derek White of all players to like be at the forefront of his mind.
I'm going to be honest with you. That was a mess up. I meant Peyton Pritchard. I thought that he was Derek White. I thought they just meant like the white Derek on their team. You know, like I thought that was his name.
I think that was a joke I made at the time. All right.
I have one last one. Jared Vanderbilt is progressing, in quotes, progressing, but also not playing and also stop asking us about it.
Yeah. No, we are going to reach a point where like I hope we don't.
Though. What does that mean? Aren't we all progressing day to day, you know?
Yeah, like because that's eventually what happened with all of these like ambiguous injuries that they've had, right? Where you know, it's like, well, here's the time frame that we have, and then you get to the end of that time frame. We're gonna revisit.
Like, well, no, he's on the plan.
Weeks. Yeah,
okay, what's the plan?
Then,
you know,
I remember the plans.
He's on it.
Yeah, and then eventually, like it just like the guys on the beat just stopped asking about that player.
Yeah.
Or we stopped getting updates
like
altogether.
The coach yells at
player.
you enough times after the scrum that you stop asking about it, you know?
Yeah. I hope it doesn't get there. I haven't heard anything about like his season is in peril
you know, I say this.
Like
I hope he's fine. I love Vando's game. I hope that he can have an impact this year. Like I'm a huge fan, but it's just like this feels again like one of these situations where there's just no info and they're just like, yeah, you know, it's totally normal that he hasn't played in like a year.
Yeah. Well,
and we've never said it's anything serious. You know,
and he hasn't had surgery, and there hasn't been any like forward momentum on him returning. Oh, by the way, he was cleared to play in a playoff game that he was never going to play in.
Yeah,
all of this was super weird.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all I have as well. Yeah. Now looking at it, I'm really kind of
we if we have extra space when the bingo card is generated, we should add D'Angelo Russell says he's going to play like Derek White. Just throw it in there. It's like it's a bonus space, you know, if you can get it. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, we have another good one here from a live viewer. Gray Raj says,
"See, this is a season bingo, though. This is absolutely correct as a headline of something. 100%. Sorry, I'll let you read it for the audio.
So the Gray Raj writes, the Lakers are waiting until quote Thanksgiving to evaluate if moves need to be made. Going to December, going to January, going to the deadline, and then they'll have going to the offseason. I'm going to add my own little spin to this. They're going to wait till the offseason when they have 3 first-round picks that they could potentially use.
And Vando's healthy, so that's like a free agency addition, you know?
Yeah. I will say, though, on this front, Harrison and I, so we aren't going to talk again for another couple weeks. That should get us through to the beginning of training camp. And then before the season, we'll do another bingo card that is, you know, for like the actual season.
We also should fact check ourselves. We should. I don't think we've ever actually done it where we've tracked our results. I think this year we should do it.
We always delete our list. Let's not delete our list this year.
You say we as if like I am not the one that like sends you screen grabs of the list every year and then you do nothing with it.
It's true. All right. Well, I will not delete my list this year.
This isn't called the Harrison Fagan show, okay?
It's not the Anthony Irwin show either.
Well, but
right.
it used to be, so it's...
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get you out of here and let you go and cook for Mia. What are you cooking?
That's a good question. It's that's going to be decided by what we have in the freezer and fridge when I get in there.
I'm surprised you guys don't do like, what is it? The Only Fresh? Have you ever done that?
Only Fresh. I think it's Hello Fresh.
Hello Fresh.
Only Fresh sounds like a very different service. No,
have
we
you
do
done
not.
it? They have a vegetarian option.
We're not that fancy. No, we're not.
It was actually. It was.
I did. There was one of those services that I'm not going to name because they didn't pay me enough to mention them in perpetuity, and I don't know if they still exist. But when you and I were locked on, that sent us some of that stuff, and it's like I would subscribe to it, but I also am not like made of money.
Yeah, it was nice when we would get more of that stuff. But
if you can get us Only Fresh free swag,
Only Fresh. I'm gonna Google Only Fresh after this on private mode,
and then decide if you need to cut this segment from the pod or not.
All right, that was Harrison Fagan. I am Anthony Irwin. We have a couple other fun shows lined up for you guys for the rest of the week. We're going to be talking to somebody about the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm going to bring Raj back here to, discuss the day's news as well. And
he's going to have a 20-minute PowerPoint ready on how mean we were to JHS and ready to call you out on it.
I'm going to bring Sabrina on as well to talk about the WNBA season as they get ready for the playoffs and as we head into award season.
Playoffs start this Sunday.
So look for that as well. And until you get all of that stuff, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Harrison Fagan. And this has been what happened there was that I saw that I needed to delete the comment from our live screen there, and it had been up there for 5 minutes. And
you got caught in the air. It's okay. We're all in training camp. You just got to work on it.
Yeah, a training camp headline is Anthony is finally going to learn how to speak English. So until the day that I do, have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's, and we will talk to you tomorrow.